Hello neighbor, this is Kurt with etrailer, and today we're going to take a look at the Kuat Transfer V2 hitch bike carrier for two bikes and see how it interacts with our 2022 Ford Edge. Now, if you've gone ahead and purchased the Transfer V2 and you've got some experiences with it to share, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. We would love to share your story with our other neighbors so they can make the best decision for themselves. Now, the Transfer V2 is going to be a platform bike rack. It will be wheel mounted, so if you do have fenders, we have other options here at etrailer that would be a frame mount for you. Or you could take a look at the Kuat Piston, which is a wheel mounted bike rack that does have additions that will allow for fenders. But in this case, at 60 pounds per tray, we can get some e-bikes on here if we really want to. It's going to accommodate a lot of different styles of bike. And it's a really nice design in that it is a U-shaped design here, which really, if we remove our outer arm out of the way, it's going to be very easy to get access to our foot pedal, which is going to control our tilt and things like that, or loading and unloading the bike itself. Usually with platform racks, we have a whole bar coming across here and we kind of have to reach over things. So from the design standpoint, that is an excellent feature for this bike rack. Now, one of the things that we do have to keep in mind whenever we're looking at a platform bike rack is, what kind of visibility issues am I going to have? Well, as you can see, and we do have a larger frame bike on here, you are going to see some of the bike coming out of your rear window. We are going to have a bit of blockage here at the license plate and here at your rear view camera. But as far as our tail lights go, those are mostly going to be visible for other drivers out there. But in regards to our rear view camera, because we have some blockage on that, it is important to know just what kind of footprint this rack is going to leave behind your bumper for whenever you're backing into a tighter space or trying to parallel park. So from the bumper to the furthest point on our rack back here, we're looking at a measurement of just under 31 inches. So keep in mind, you've got about 2.5 feet extra back here for those tighter spots. The other thing we want to take a look at while we're down here is what kind of ground clearance do we have? So coming from the shank, we actually do have a pretty decent rise out of this. And we are going to be just a hair under 16 inches of ground clearance for the furthest point. Now, that's actually a pretty decent amount of ground clearance, but it is good to note that that's what you have whenever you're coming upon a steeper driveway or incline. It's always nice to know exactly what you got to do to get that up there. Now, as far as our 60-pound weight capacity, there is not a ramp that really goes with this bike rack, so just make sure that you're comfortable getting that weight, whatever it is, up about 15.5 inches in order to get here into the wheel cup. So actually, that's not too bad either. There are a lot of bike racks out there that have that kind of weight capacity that keeps it much higher up in the air. And while we're over here, let's just take a quick look at what kind of clearance we have with the bike behind the vehicle. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is a pretty big frame bike. It's got larger pedals, it's got 15.5-inch handlebars, but as you can see, we're really in no danger, even on a rougher road, of any contact being made between the bike and the back of the vehicle itself. It's actually pretty loose back there. But with that in mind, while we're taking a look at this, one of the biggest questions we always get is just what kind of, space do I have in order to get my lift gate open? Well, the Transfer V2 does have a tilt-away feature, and because of that U-shaped design, we're able to clear this arm, get in here. One of the great things about this is that it actually has a foot pedal that you can use to tilt the bike back rather than reaching down underneath the bike and pressing a button and this coming down on your head. All you really need to do is get up, engage that foot pedal, and we're going to tilt away from there. So with the bike tilted away, we got better access to our lift gate. Now, keep in mind, this is a larger handlebar on this bike, and with the Transfer V2, we barely come into contact with the edge of it. However, there is enough flex back here that we can actually get it out of our way and get full access to the lift gate. So if you have a bike with, I would say maybe 15 inches or smaller in the handlebars, you shouldn't have to worry about that. But for those bigger handlebars, you may just have to ease this out of the way a little bit in order to get full clearance from the lift gate. But the important thing is that we have that access. So now we can get in, gather up more equipment, get some extra water, change shoes, whatever it might be in order to enjoy our bike ride. Or say we're coming home from the trail and we need to stop and pick up some groceries or something else from the store. We can now get things in and out of our rear storage area without having to remove the bike at all. And we're just going to go ahead and bring it down. And from here, actually bringing it down, we didn't even have to bend it out of the way. That's just how close it is. And from there, all we need to do is come back to our bike rack and lift it up. Once we hear that click and the foot pedal deploys back out, we're back up in our riding position. We could put our arm and hook down on the outer edge, and we're ready to get back on the road. Now, as far as loading and unloading your bike, that's a really simple process as well. There are 2 points of contact. There's the arm and hook that we were talking about before, and there's also this ratcheting wheel strap down here in the back. So in order to remove our bike, we are first going to remove our wheel strap by depressing this tab, getting the strap through, and just kind of feeding it through the other side, through the spokes, and out of the way. Next, what we'll do is just kind of move our arm here out of the way. This is going to give us that easy access into the bike because of that U-shaped design again. But for this, what we're going to do is depress this tab, lift our hook all the way up and clear the wheel. And now we're able to remove our bike and either store it or hit the trail. So when you're driving around without a bike on the rack, you don't want all of this extra hanging off the bumper. It does have a stowaway position, so I'm going to remove that outer arm, get better access to my foot pedal. But instead of letting it drop like we did before for the tilt-away, we're going to lift it up against the bumper. And now we've significantly reduced that footprint from behind the bumper. Now we only have to account for about 9 inches back here whenever we're getting in and out of those tighter spaces. We're still going to have some blockage on our license plate and a bit on our rear view here, but other drivers out there are going to be able to see your tail lights clearly, and you'll have clear visibility out your rear window. So all said and done, I do think the Kuat Transfer V2 is an excellent choice for you and your 2022 Ford Edge. I'm Kurt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.